Mogoče za veš, da se pole malo kak meme nadiš, pa se manj morce delaš.
Dobrodošli na naši slovenski konferenci družbe Huawei Technologies. Kot ste že bili obveščeni, danes je današnja tema novinarske konference petkov omrežja in tehnologija, aktualno dogajanje okrog tega in seveda včerajšnji podpis sporazuma med Slovenijo in Združenimi državami Amerike. Poziv družbe Huawei boste danes predstavili naša današnja govorca, to sta podpredsednik Huawei Evropa, gospod Keđa, in torej, direktor Huawei Slovenija, gospod Histro Čak. Za vse, ki torej, novinarska konferenca bo potekala v angleškem jeziku, za vse, ki potrebujete torej, prevajanje, smo zagotovili simultano prevajanje, naprave s slušalkami so vzadje na mizi, na številki 1 je slovenski jezik, na številki 2 angliški. Tako da bi potem po besedi najprej povabil gospoda Histra, da predstavi torej Huawei Technologies.
Thank you for everyone to participate in our press conference today. So my name is Hicho. Nice to meet you all. Yeah. Okay. I think everybody can listen to me, so I don't want to repeat again. So anyhow, welcome. So I will give you some kind of briefing about the current situation about Huawei, about our marketing update. Okay. So the first is about who we are. Huawei is a leading global ICT provider. So now we have around 200,000 employees all over the world. And the most important thing that we have around 50% of our staff is working in R&D. And this is one of our key reasons why Huawei can become number one in the technology. Another key, the figure I would like to highlight is about 49. So I think when you read the news, you will see that Huawei suffered a high pressure from the 2018. But actually, under such kind of high pressure, our company is still performing very good. So we reach around 61, this global fortune number in 2019. And this year we are ranking number 49. So I'm proudly to say that Huawei is among the biggest company around the world on the top 50. And the next is about hot topic about who owns Huawei. So from here you can see clearly that we have around 22 billion shares, and it's 100% owned by our employee. Around 10% is owned by the retired employee, and 90% is by the employee who's working for Huawei now, and the 1% is for our founder, Mr. Ren. So if you look at this, you will see there's no room for the government. And this one also had been verified and certificated by the KPMG. The next, I would like to talk about to show you the performance of our company. You can see that in 2019, we reached the revenue is 123 billion US dollar. We still maintain a very sustainable growth. And also in the H1 in this year, we also have some increasement. And another thing I would like to highlight is that in the past, from the year Huawei founded, in every year we maintain around 10 to 15% of our revenue to contribute in the R&D. So this is the EU, the industrial investment scoreboard from 2019. So from here you can see that the Huawei actually is ranking number 5 on globally of the R&D investment. And even from the 2019, we are increased our investment on R&D. So that will happen in 2020. And with this heavily investment, Huawei actually is ranking number 1 in the 5G patent contribution. With this, the remarkable investment, actually we have the reward from the market. You can see that for Huawei now we are the number 1 in the 5G market share. We have around 91 commercial contracts signed globally, and in the whole world now we have around 87 the 5G commercial network, and 55 of these 87 is powered by Huawei. Also in EU the number is significant. You can see that we have 39 the 5G commercial network, and around 28 is supported by Huawei. And since 2018, we suffer high pressure. But even those, if you look at this figure, if you look at this figure, you can see that our market share for the radio part is still increasing, from 30% to 32% in the RAN and 35% for the 5G. And then I would like to talk about the cybersecurity, which is a very hot topic. And since we are a private company, we have to always listen to our boss. So this is what our boss, Mr. Ren, said. Okay, cybersecurity is our company's red line. Nobody can cross it. And also, we are willing to sign a non-spy agreement with every government who is willing to. And also, when we say that, when we judge, people don't judge by what he said, also by what he does. So from here, you can see that we are the number 1 in the industry to put our investment into the R&D. Around 750 million in the 2019. And also we have 5% of our totally R&D investment is in the cybersecurity. with this high effort, you can see that Huawei nowadays we serve over 170 countries, more than 13 billion people. But over the 30 years, we have zero bad record about cybersecurity. This is about what we do by ourselves, and we all know that the cybersecurity is not one single company's responsibility. So as a company, Huawei, we also very actively to participate on this cybersecurity standard. We get more than 270 cyber certificates from the global. Also, we actively participate these security standards. And also, I would like to mention that now Huawei have the global cybersecurity center around the world, and 3 of them is in the EU. The one in Brussels is public open, so I'm honestly to invite you to can have a visit to our cybersecurity in Brussels. Over there, you can see what in detail what is our strategy about the cybersecurity, and furthermore, every operator is welcome to bring Huawei equipment there to do the test to see Huawei have a backdoor or not. So we are quite open. And then let's back to Slovenia. So Huawei served Slovenia for years, and nowadays we serve more than 40% of the Slovene with our solution, with our network solution, with our phone, with our products. Now in our office, around 95% of our employee is Slovene. So we always consider the localization. And then we contribute more than 30 million the tests in the past 3 years. Besides the business, also we are focused on the CSR. So in the last year, we have this Slovene 1,000 dream projects. So we donate books. Also for the long run, we would like to initiate this we call the Future C program, which we will plan to send some students from Slovenia to China to experience the culture, to bring more the communication. Unfortunately, we know that it has been pulled down by the COVID, but this will go on in the future. So in the end, is some of our hope. So for the current situation, we still maintain our expectation for the future Slovenia. So the diversity can encourage competition. Diversity can encourage the security. So the security should be defined by the fact and standard. And most important is that the regulation instead of the prohibition. And Huawei is not a threat to Slovenia, but we are a solution to Slovenia. So thank you. This is my briefing, and then I will turn to Rado, our regional boss. Thank you.
Hvala, ministro. Kot je že povedal, naš glavni srednji govorec gospod Rado, predsednik Huawei Europe, ki bo pa predstavil to najbolj vročo aktualno tematiko, kar se tiče 5G-ja in
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for spending your time with us this morning. After introduction by Histro of who we are, and we did it mainly because people, when they see Huawei, they think phone, mobile phone. But we are much more than that. As Histro said, we are on the market for 30 years. And the main reason for our growth is the investment in R&D and scientific research, as well as focus on our customers. And thanks to that, we were growing together with the customers for the last 30 years. That's why when we see that there are some joint declarations about 5G, cybersecurity, that are not related directly to cybersecurity, but rather to geopolitical situation, it raises concern in our organization, particularly for several reasons. Exclusion of the main players, or sort of discrimination of the main player in the market, doesn't benefit anyone. We are a private company that is operating on global, regional and local markets. sustainably for decades now. And we do whatever we can to support our customers. And please understand correctly, we don't own networks. We provide solutions and provide equipment to our customers. We don't have access to user data. We have possibility to show latest technologies and latest solutions to improve the digitalization of the nations. And this is our mission of the company. So when we see that joint declarations are signed that don't mention per se our company, however, from the US rhetorics we can have a feeling that it is indirectly pointed at us, it raised several concerns. And please understand, any discrimination, any free market limitation always has a negative impact on the economy. And if it is done on the digital area, it will slow down the digitalization of the country. Because if you don't have good competition, you will have to use the solutions that may not be the best or most advanced. According to our customers and researchers, we are ahead of a competition for around 1.5 years in our solutions. So we can bring our solutions to the countries to stimulate the economical growth. And as you all know, the economies are transforming to be more digital. And it is very obvious especially during the pandemic situation, that people move their lives from the physical to the virtual and digital. And the transition of education systems, transition of the working from home is the best example. What we have observed as a supplier to our customers from the discussions with our customers is that traffic in the networks has grown 40 to 70% during the pandemic. So there is a huge demand and there is a radical shift in the way people live and work and interact between each other. And for that you need to have the latest technologies. Another aspect is 5G will fundamentally boost the economy. And according to several renowned research organizations, it will have a direct contribution to gross domestic product. But also, if you look at the global situation, the countries that will adopt 5G first will build the foundation for the digital innovation in their own country. And local companies can grow that can provide businesses globally. And if I can use some example, the top 5 digital companies now who are well known and everyone knows their name, they actually boosted their operation thanks to the growth of the 4G. And 4G availability and shift from the laptop to the mobile devices is significant for the growth of the communication of the people. 5G will raise it on another level. But if I go back to the main point, especially the declaration, it was surprising for us because many countries refused to sign this declaration, especially the members of the European Union, because European Union has its own regulations for cybersecurity. And we strongly believe that cybersecurity is fundamental to assure the data protection of the citizens. And our equipment is following all the high standards in this area. We've got the certification of the common criteria AAL4 for our equipment in cybersecurity. And we have several cybersecurity centers in Europe that are open, as Histro said, to our customers to test all the solutions. But let's not be fooled here. We are in this market we will celebrate this year 20 years of our presence in Europe. And we've been working with our customers for a long time. And our customers are not naive. When they take our equipment, they test it thoroughly. They test every bit, every interconnection. They test if the equipment is stable. And after the tests are done, then they make a decision whether to purchase it or not. And then when they put it in the network, they also observe the stability. And this is also one of the reasons why they choose us, not anyone else, because our equipment is stable, high capacity and reliable. On the other hand, we support EU to adopt common standards and common criteria for cybersecurity for all the vendors, because every network is composed from multi-vendor environment. And the network is secure only when all the manufacturers of the solutions can come with the same standards. We, as you probably know, are under very high pressure and scrutiny for our equipment, so I believe our equipment meets higher standards than anyone else on the market because we are tested very thoroughly. And I think if everyone can be tested in the same way, we will achieve higher cybersecurity level in European Union and in Slovenia. One of the examples is a recent report of German BSI that announced the criteria for cybersecurity, and they particularly focused on the technical aspects and the verification of the technical aspects of the cybersecurity in the networks. I would like you to have a look at that in details. And they also, what is very important and worth to mention, they created multiple levels of verification of the decisions. Because if you have one authority that can authoritatively state who can provide equipment and who cannot, then the objectivity of this authority can be questioned or be exposed to certain corruptive practices. That's why it is very important to have internal checks and balances when evaluating the vendors in the networks. In the past, the responsibility for evaluation of the vendors in the networks was solely in the hands of the operators, and for decades they didn't really fail. In our history as a company, for 30 years of operation around the world, we never had a significant cybersecurity incident involving our equipment. So this is another point that is important to remember. That would be main about the joint declaration, but I also would like to re-emphasize that we live in the free economy, and the reason why the GDP of Slovenia and neighboring countries is growing is ability to compete. If you cripple competition, the consequences will be visible in the next 5 years. Not immediately, but you will be able to see increased average person will be able to see that his phone bill is rising. Because if you eliminate main supplier from the market, then the prices of the equipment will go 4 times. And I refer to my experience. When I joined this company 12 years ago, the prices of one base station were 5 times higher than now, and it was 3G, now it's 4G. So we bring a differentiation by giving high quality products and give reasonable price for it. So if the competition is limited, then there will be duopoly, effectively 2 players on the market, and they will really raise the prices. So if the operators have to pay more for the equipment, they have to compensate it somehow, and the only way is to increase the spend of the average subscriber. And also, I refer to the Oxford Economic Report that you have printed with you. Please have a look at it. Oxford Economics have analyzed what is the impact of the GDP if one of the players is excluded from the market. And you can see the figures, including 40 billion by GDP in European Union impact till 2035. But please remember, those figures are only based on the GDP analysis. It doesn't include our direct investment in every country. It doesn't include job creation. We are on top of the taxpayers in every country we operate in Europe in our sector. So there are several other factors that you need to take into consideration when you talk about economic impact. Also, what is very important to mention is that even though we are under heavy pressure and thorough testing, our customers and countries we operate trust in our solutions. We have signed 91 commercial contracts. We delivered hundreds of thousands of 5G equipment. We have 47 contracts in Europe for commercial networks, and customers are starting to enjoy the solutions. And the reason why our 5G is superior is because it's a lightweight solution, it's environmentally friendly, it consumes less power, and it is very easy to deploy and very modular. That's why it is easier for the operators to install and use the full capacity and capability of this equipment with a small footprint. I would like to also mention that, if you want to exclude a company only because of a country of origin, what would you say if Luka Doncic was, removed from the competition because he is Slovenian? Because there is no evidence against our company. There is no tangible facts on the table. It's just mainly a lot of accusations without a foundation. I hope I covered the subject in large scale. If you have any questions, we will be very happy to answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kedja. Torej, sedaj seveda so na voljo vprašanja za katerikoli izmed gostov. Prosim bi sam na začetku, če se predstavite oziroma če boste v slovenskem jeziku sodelovali tudi. Pa prosim bi v mikrofon za prevajalke kolegica Prša pa mi ponesla.
You're making an insider. Maybe Mr. Janša answered that Luka Doncic will not be excluded because he is from a democratic country. Huawei is not. This is the main argument against your company. So the question is, under the Chinese law, is it true that you have to provide some data to Chinese organizations, civil services, etc.? That's the first. And second, we also learned from Snowden that even Apple, Google, some other big companies, they have so-called backdoors, and they provide the American government with data also about American citizens. So at least they are not better, I would say. But the question remains: do you have some special connections, obligations against Chinese government and Communist Party? That's the question.
Thank you for your question. I think there were three questions inside. You said that we don't come from a democratic country.
I don't.
Huawei Slovenia is based in Slovenia. We are a company that is rooted in China, but it's a global company with offices around the world. And we are not a political organization. We are a private company. So, inside of our company, our processes are more democratic than in some other companies, especially with the voting rights and so on. So this is the first comment. Second, do we have to provide any data? No, we don't. And first, there are three layers for it. Firstly, what kind of data? About our customers? Everyone knows our customers. Those are mobile operators. And those informations are publicly available. So why anyone would ask us about it? We don't have access to subscriber data on our customer network. Why would we? We have no interest. Secondly, we were never asked to provide any data. And thirdly, even our founder said if we were asked to provide and forced to provide, we would rather close our business because it would be the beginning of our end. I hope this answers the second part of your question. And third, for the backdoors, we test our equipment in UK, in our center, and we open the source code. And the report from our oversight board may not be the best, and it's pointing out weaknesses in our software development, but everyone has them. But what is important to see is that they clearly state in the report, independent UK report, that they haven't found any backdoors or any interference from the third state. I wish everyone can do the same with their software and their solution. I hope this answers your question.
Next question.
Thank you. My name is Maya Dercha. I work for Radio Slovenija, public radio. My first question goes to Mr. Chan. I hope I pronounced it correctly.
Correctly. Maybe you can call me Histro. Easier, perhaps.
So my question is regarding, you mentioned non-spy agreement. Could you explain how, when, and to who said that it would sign? So did the Chinese government propose the non-spy agreement, and what was the response from the Slovenian government? Was it Huawei who proposed it? And to Mr. Kecha, if we stay at geopolitical issues, you said that Slovenia, by excluding Huawei, could cripple competition and so on. Could you answer if there are any other Western companies from Europe or United States that provide 5G equipment in China? Could they compete on Chinese market? Are they allowed in public procurement? And would China let a Western company, for example Ericsson, build its critical telecommunications infrastructure? Thank you.
Okay, I will start first. Any global company, including our competitors, Nokia, Ericsson, Cisco, HP, Dell, and so on and so forth, for any company, China market contributes 30 to 40% of their revenue. And this also applies to our competitors. And from the information I received, even though I'm not responsible for China market, Ericsson and Nokia provide 5G solutions in China for mobile operators. They are not winning a lot of deals, as far as I know, but I read some of the statements from China Mobile, I think. Basically, they compare the price and the functionality. This is commercial decision, those are commercial companies. And to Histro.
Okay, so thank you for your question. And before that, I would like to have some add-up to Nikki about your question about the Chinese law. Actually, these Chinese law have already been verified that these Chinese law which you mentioned, they don't have any, regulation on our company level. Because, for example, Huawei is Huawei Slovenia, we are local office. We oblige the local law. And this is from the law perspective. And for another perspective, I would like to say that now Huawei is already ranking #1 in the industry. In the past, we never, like I mentioned, we have the 0 bad records of cybersecurity. Imagine that nowadays, if you find one single case that Huawei is doing such kind of spy, it will only ruin our business. It will not support our business. So me, my colleague here, we can go home. So on the business level, we will not do that. So back to the question about the non-spy agreement. If I remember that before the COVID-19, in the meeting between me and the Information Security Office, I already proposed this non-spy agreement. And this agreement is proposed by our company. It's not related with the Chinese government. And we didn't get any official feedback regarding this agreement. Like we always mention, we are open. We are willing to talk with the Slovenian government to find a common solution regarding cybersecurity. Thank you.
I would like to add something to what Histro said. Please don't think that we offer this agreement only in Slovenia. Basically, we say if anyone has any concerns, we feel very confident to sign this kind of agreement because we have nothing to hide and we are a transparent company. So this applies to all the countries that we operate in. Just to, if someone has some concerns, it's a reassurance. But also, please remember that I want to go back briefly to this declaration that was signed. Very recently in Czech Republic, Czech Republic refused to sign this kind of agreement with the United States, mainly because they said that they are part of European Union and they need to check what are the European Union regulations. So this is also worth mentioning in terms of your question.
Television. I have a question. Following yesterday's joint statement, how do you foresee your work on Slovenian market in the future? What will be your next steps? And maybe also, the Chinese embassy yesterday has written that the Slovenian side has made it clear to the Chinese side that the joint declaration is not against China or Chinese companies. Have you received also any clarification on that field? Thank you.
So far we haven't received clarification. Also, it is very difficult for us to make any sort of commitments about the future at this moment, because apparently geopolitical factors are impacting business and economical factors. However, we strongly believe that open and inclusive market can only sustain the economy, economical growth. Because exclusion of any player from the market also sends very negative signal to other investors in the country.
Yes, so for the question, actually, from our point of view, that in Slovenia, we still hope that, actually, if we look back to Slovenia previously, you are a very open and transparency country. We hope that it doesn't matter what declaration you sign, you can, as a country, you can stay maintain this environment for the business. And then for the local, actually, for Huawei, we would like to participate in the future 5G development in Slovenia. And in order to do that, we will always keep our strategy, the customer-centric. Also, this is our Huawei's, the key core value. So we will still to provide our best service to our customers. Thank you.
Next question.
How cheaper is your technology towards Ericsson and Nokia or some Americans? This American technology that is still not there, as we know. But how do you maybe see some conclusions is that $7 would be something that European citizens would pay more because of they would choose Ericsson or Nokia. But you said 4 times expensive. How do you maybe comment on that?
Okay, so 2 questions in one. Can you remind me the first one? Okay, you are asking about commercial information that we are not in the position to disclose for 2 reasons. First one, we protect contracts with our customers. We are a law-abiding company. And secondly, we don't want to make life too easy for our competitors. But no, to be serious, our solution is not cheap if you look at the price unit for one, let's say, base station. We are not cheap, but if you buy our equipment, the cost of running your network will be cheaper because it's more effective, it consumes less power, it doesn't break very oftenly, and because it's small, you don't have to pay a lot for the rent of your towers and space and so on and so forth. So the overall total cost of ownership of our solution is much lower. I hope I answer your question.
Maybe you can also comment the Pompeo's statement from yesterday. He said that the main threat is China party, communist party that is trying to control people, and economies, and one more thing he added, I can't remember.
Well, it is very difficult to comment on that. I'm not a politician, I'm a businessman. So those political statements have nothing to do with my company that is a private entity.
How do you see for them? I mean, they don't have the technology yet, so maybe they're buying time trying to get into business. So
everyone can see that all this negative campaign about our company is to slow us down. To slow us down.
Any other questions? Anybody? Okay. Potem se vam zahvaljujem za prišli na novinarsko konferenco in se vidimo tudi v naslednji priložnosti. Hvala.
Thank you for your time. I hope it was useful.
Thank you.